Good evening, guys. I'm always being asked to do a side-by-side comparison of the drives, different types of drives, solid state, mechanical, and NVMe. Not so much NVMe, but I figured I'd throw it into the mix. This is my little system that I picked up, set up today at work, and brought it home excited to use it, and had this crazy idea in the car on my way back that it would be more fun to use it for an example of speed and different technologies. Like I said, I'm always being asked for this, so I figured I'd do a quick video, get it up on the tube or Facebook, and show people what it's about. Right now, I'm imaging my last drive. It's on the tail end, going to the mechanical drive so that I have three exact images or three exact hard drives. I pick the mechanical drive and I'll pull all three and put them next to each other and do a quick side-by-side and technical comparison, even though that's not what this video is intended to be. Uh, I picked a drive out of my pile here that is pretty common to most laptops today. It's a 2012, very lightly used solid mechanical drive, 5400 RPM. It is a Hitachi. It's a 750 gigabyte. I'm looking at my screen now. I believe it is a 750 gig. Many machines come with either a 500 or 500 to 1 terabyte, so this is a pretty common drive. We typically expect 2 to 3 years out of a mechanical drive. This is a great exception based on the machine it came out of and the family it came from. It is used just to be on the up and up. The system specs, and I'll show you the system in a minute once this finishes, and we're almost done. But the system specs, it's an i7 6700K processor, 8 gigabytes of DDR4. This machine has capacity, obviously, for that little 2.5-inch laptop drive. It did come stock with a 2.5-inch solid state drive, a typical replacement for the drive that's in there now. And I replaced it with or upgraded it to an NVMe solid state. Quite a different technology, better technology. So once this finishes, I will pull it all apart. I'll show you what it is, and I'll do a comparison and side by side of the different types of drives, and just a show and tell of what it is and what I'm actually going to be doing. So my goal is to do a boot from one drive to the next, starting with the mechanical. I'll throw a timer up on the video editor so you have some basic idea of what the actual time is. That just finished, so I'm going to yank this drive out and close it down, and I will be back shortly. All right, so I pulled out the mechanical drive that was on top of the solids on top of the NVMe. The NVMe drive is this guy right here. I'm going to yank that out. I figured before I did, I'll show you where it mounts. There's a little bracket down here that it slides into, and there's one little screw right there that holds the drive in. It's a tiny little guy. So 3 inches long, 3/4 of an inch or to an inch wide, and circuit board thickness with components. So let me yank it apart. Let me yank it out of there, and I'll do a side by side. While I have it apart, the machine I'm using is the top cover. This is a little, where are you? HP. There's all the model number. Where are you? HP ProDesk 600 G2 Mini. Again, an HP ProDesk 600 G2 Mini. It's quite a horsey machine. I love it. I picked it up the other day, and let me pull that drive out and I'll show you do a little side by side. All right, so I pulled the drive out and I didn't take any of the brackets off or anything. I left it all there because I'm lazy. But this is the side by side. This is a mechanical spinner drive, the most common laptop or desktop style drive. A desktop would be a 3.5-inch form factor. This is a 2.5. This is a 2.5-inch direct replacement solid state drive for this drive, and with a bracket we can mount this into a desktop drive that 3.5. This is an NVMe drive, the one I just showed you in the machine. I pulled it out for size comparison and because I don't want it in the machine for testing. Just down the line. So this has a read-write speed between 100 and 150 megabytes per second, which is pretty common depending on age. This one is in the 500 to 600 depending on brand and manufacturer, or I'm sorry, brand and type of technology used. This little guy is, I believe, clocks out at 550 to 600. It's a Samsung. This Kingston, I hate manufacturer claims, up to about 2200 megabytes a second. So 150, 500 to 550, 2200, and the technology peaks out around 3500 hypothetically, and it's a pure hypothetical number. But you'll see the difference hopefully between the three. I haven't done this side-by-side test yet. I'm going to guess this is obviously going to be the slowest. I see this every day. I'm going to guess there's not going to be a whole lot of difference, noticeable difference between the two solid-state drives. But we shall see. Let me put the mechanical in, get that in, and then I'll be back. All right, guys, I'm back. Mechanical drive is installed, and so there's no question. There's my two solid-state drives. So to start this without the cover on's a little hinky. Let me work this in there. Come back here. Where are you? I can't get back far enough in my little office area. All right, so we're going to watch this thing boot. It's on. And I'm going to go till the desktop appears and is there and all that happy stuff. And it's still going and going. You know, it's funny, you get so used to solid state drives that this is actually a pretty normal boot up time for a mechanical drive. And it's what we've gotten used to over the years. But Windows 10 has become such a hog, this is where solid state makes a difference. And I think you'll see that with the next drive as we wait for this one to load. I thought this, in the car tonight, I thought this was going to be such a cool video or cool idea for a video because this machine takes all three platforms and it's not a cheap little machine if you look it up. It's actually quite a pricey little machine. And it's a rocket ship. And where are you? Hey. And it should say Remo, welcome, come on. There we go. Okay, let's pause it there and I'll use that as my marker. All right, again, so there's no funny business. There's my NVMe drive and the mechanical drive I just tested. The Samsung 2.5 inch, I keep saying 3.5 inch, the 2.5 inch solid state is installed. And let's do the hokey push the button thing. Again, without the top cover, it's pretty much a pain. And then when we get to the Remo welcome, Remo is my nickname. When we get to there, I'll stop the video and put the next drive in. Boom. All right, so I just mounted the NVMe drive back in there. There's the solid state we just tested, the mechanical drive. We're going to do the hinky startup thing with my screwdriver. And let's watch. Again, until I get to Remo and on. And then Remo welcome. Let's see what that says. There it is. Well, I got to get this last part done before I lose power. It's pretty windy and my power's flickered a few times. So I've done the 3 tests. I did this solid state, the mechanical, the NVMe, and I was pretty impressed with the difference between the solid state drives and the mechanical. 1 minute 49 seconds for the mechanical, just under 14 seconds for the 2.5-inch solid state, and ridiculous just under 13 seconds for the NVMe drive. Now, a little side note, the NVMe drive, even though the boot difference isn't significant, where most people are going to notice a difference is processing large files like pictures, music, and movies. Most people aren't not going to benefit from NVMe unless you're doing a lot of heavy-duty processing. You just simply won't notice a difference between that and a regular 2.5-inch drive.